¿Por qué esta Coca-Cola de McDonald's sabe tan bien? ¿Será la máquina? ¿Será el popote o el hielo? O quizás soy yo.
No sé, Diego, pero vámonos, ¿no? El ¿por qué esto sabe tan bien deal? Un refresco de cualquier tamaño por $1, solo en el $1, $2, $3 menu de McDonald's. Precios y participación pueden variar, no se puede combinar con cualquier otra oferta o combo mío. Coca-Cola es una marca registrada de The Coca-Cola Company.
AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Good morning. It is the Bill Handel Show. He is recovering from heart valve replacement surgery. The morning crew is here. Gary and Shannon coming up at 10. And I guess some people are worried about the Delta variant of the coronavirus coming back into the jails and the prisons, and that they are not ready to protect the prisoners. And anytime you start talking about protect the prisoners, a lot of the population immediately says, no thanks, don't care. They got what they deserved. It's not my problem. I have no sympathy. All right. I am not here to lecture you that you should have more compassion for prisoners. First of all, prisoners are not a monolithic population. There are people in prison who damn well deserve to be in there. There are people in prison who damn well deserve to be in there longer than they're going to be in there. And I'll tell you what, too. This is the way I feel. There are people in prison who damn well deserve to be dead instead. If we're talking about, like, the morality of the death penalty, there are definitely people who deserve to be dead for what they did. Practically speaking, it's a mess, the death penalty, but the morality of it, I'm cool in some cases. However, you know the part I said there's people in prison who deserve to be there longer than they're going to be? That means they're going to come out. There's also a lot of people in prison who do not deserve to be there as long as they're going to be there. They're also going to come out. And you may bristle at the idea, but there are people in prison who don't deserve to be there. I'm not just talking about the relatively small number of people who were wrongly convicted. You know, they're actually innocent. Because those cases are heartbreaking when somebody who is actually innocent ends up convicted. And we see some of these cases after years and years and years finally get turned around. But there's also people who they're guilty. They definitely did a crime. They don't deserve to be in prison. Not every offense deserves incarceration. That's stupid. If you're like, what do you mean, you big liberal commie? No. You're jaywalking one night. Prison? You're out for a stroll somewhere, and man, you really have to pee. You really have to pee bad. And there's no public bathrooms available to you. So you kind of go off, try to be out of sight as much as you can, and you relieve yourself. And it's just the wrong time, and here's the cop, and there it is, indecent exposure or whatever. Prison? But because there's a lack of uniformity in the criminal justice system, you know, you have people whose sentences are too light and they really should get a hell of a lot more time. And you have other people who really should not have been sent in prison. And my point ultimately is, what's in it for you to even talk about what the prisons are doing and what they should be doing to protect against COVID? Because most people in prison today, right now, most of them will not be in prison for the rest of their lives. They're going to come out again. And some of those people are coming out any day now. There's a bunch of people who today are in prison and tomorrow and Friday and Saturday won't. So I don't really want to be around them if they have COVID any more than I want to be around you if you have COVID and you're a fine, upstanding individual who's never done anything wrong in your whole life. but I don't want to be around you with COVID. And so here's the interesting thing about what the prisons are doing and not doing to protect everybody from COVID. I forgot to mention the obvious thing, too, that there are all kinds of people who work in the prisons who are not criminals. There's the guards, there's teachers, there's cleaning staff, there's medical care staff, there's the people who make the food in the kitchen, there's the one guy whose specialty is making the Nutriloaf that they give as a disciplinary diet to the prisoners. Man, have you ever tasted Nutriloaf? If you ever have an opportunity to taste Nutriloaf, you should take that opportunity. Because it's this thing that they give to prisoners to punish them. But it has all the nutrition that you need, but I don't even want to try to describe what it's like eating it. If you ever have an opportunity, you take a bite of that Nutriloaf. So you've got all of these people who do not deserve your scorn at all, and they're exposed to all of these people, many of whom do deserve your scorn, and they come home every night. And they're out and about all the time. So here's the bottom line. The first round or two of COVID outbreaks, they had them in prisons. Obviously, it's a congregate living setting. Now the Delta variant is out there. It's far more contagious. There's been a lot of reduction in the prison population, but most prisons are still over capacity. Like in California, they did reduce the prison population significantly, but it's still 109% of rated capacity. And you cannot socially distance in a prison. And so you have masks. Okay, I like masks, but masks are not the holy grail of fighting COVID. We know the holy grail of fighting COVID is vaccinations. So here's some interesting numbers. This comes from UCLA's law school they call it the COVID Behind Bars Project, and they gather this data. So in Alabama, 66% of prisoners are vaccinated and only 23% of the staff are. In California, 77% of the prisoners are vaccinated, 57% of the staff. Minnesota, 94% of the prisoners, 55% of the staff. And Pennsylvania, I don't know what your problem is, 90% of prisoners in Pennsylvania are vaccinated and only 25% of the staff. So to the extent that the last rounds of outbreaks in prison were based on prisoners not wanting to get vaccinated because they don't trust anybody or anything, this next wave will almost certainly be at the feet of the workers, specifically the correctional officers who are choosing not to get vaccinated. And they're working on a law in Sacramento that would require, well, there's a public health order, first of all, that requires the people who provide health care in the prisons to get vaccinated, and also tries to sweep in people who don't directly give health care but could be exposed, which means basically everybody who walks into that prison every day to work. And the California Correctional Peace Officers Association basically said, well, we want to wait and see how they actually implement it, but if it turns into a broad requirement that our guards be vaccinated, we're going to fight it. Let's get a news update from Jennifer Jones-Lee. And then we reported earlier on the woman in New Jersey who was selling fake COVID cards and had vaccine cards and had a Confederate at a clinic who would enter the information into the official database. Well, before the authorities caught this woman, some guy on TikTok caught her. It's a hell of a, I guess I'd call it private citizen detective story. This is KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. I think John has just never had kale that has been properly massaged. It doesn't make kale taste better, massaging it.
I'm not a fan of kale.
Yeah. What are you going to do? KFI AM 6, that was such a stupid ending by me. What are you going to do?
Not eat it.
Doesn't mean anything. No, just these vocal tics. What are you going to do? Well, anyway. Even that. Anyway, I just used a vocal tick to end a run of vocal ticks. So
That was more of a segue.
when do I get my Marconi?
We'll cut you some slack.
Thank you. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Good morning. It's the Bill Handel Show. He's recovering from heart surgery. We're going to have Handel on the News late edition with Jennifer Jones-Lee and me in just a few minutes. But earlier, and Jen, I don't know if you're hearing me right this moment, but if you are, you'll remember we told the people about the woman from New Jersey who was selling the fake vaccine cards and got caught, $200 a piece. Also got a Confederate who worked at a clinic of some kind who was able to enter the vaccine information into the official database. So this would be not just having a fake driver's license, but having a driver's license that if somebody ran it through the DMV would come up as a legitimate driver's license, which is pretty darn good. And she was caught. And we now know that she is a stripper named Jasmine Clifford, 31 years old. But before the authorities caught her, some dude on TikTok caught her. Now, you should know she was running her scam through TikTok. She had an account called Anti-Vax Mama and was offering to sell these fake vaccine cards and also soliciting other people to help her with the scam through TikTok. Well, some guy named Michael, last name unknown because he doesn't want anybody to know his last name. He's afraid of retaliation. He saw this going on too. And he didn't like it one little bit. And so he decided to basically go undercover to catch Anti-Vax Mama. So when he saw Anti-Vax Mama asking for help running the scam, and specifically asking for people who worked at places like CVS or hospitals so that they could enter the fake vaccine card information into the legitimate system, he posed as a Walgreens employee wanting to get in on the action. And they started exchanging texts, Michael and Anti-Vax Mama, and he, of course, kept screenshots of all of those text messages. At this point in time, Anti-Vax Mama was using a second TikTok account under the name 5-Star Jazzy, Jazzy with 3 I's at the end, and said that she got like 30 cards a day. She was making $10,000 a week. So then Michael put up a video exposing Anti-Vax Mama. Hey, guys, there's this woman in New Jersey who's selling fake vaccine cards, and look at all this evidence that I've developed. I'm a citizen detective. So then when Michael's video exposing Anti-Vax Mama went up, the Anti-Vax Mama account disappeared and was replaced by Anti-Vax Mama 2, where this woman apparently was begging people not to share Michael's video, exposing her and claiming that her accounts had been hacked. That was one thing that she apparently claimed. And also claiming kind of vaguely, without a lot of explanation, that it's just some crazy guy and that's not my phone number and I don't know what he's talking about and he's harassing me. But it looks like that's not true. It looks like old Anti-Vax Mama, a.k.a. this Jasmine Clifford, was probably selling fake vaccine cards. The authorities are now on her case. Michael, I don't think, gets any kind of reward for this. But look at that. He cracked the case. See, again, if you're going to start planning crimes with people online, you should assume that they're either police officers or they're people like Michael who are out to get you. The fact is, not that many people who really sincerely want to get into crimes want to do it in a way that would so clearly expose them. Sorry, Jasmine. You're probably going down. It's just my opinion. All right, we'll get a news update from Jen, and then we'll have Handle on the News late edition here. It's KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Handle on the News. Late edition. Handle.
Westworld, party time, excellent.
Wednesday morning, take my blues away. Wednesday morning, it's gonna be a brighter day.
KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. When I'm looking out the window here, it's not a brighter day at all. It's pretty cloudy and overcast, but I guess he didn't know when he wrote the song what the weather was going to be on September 1st, 2021, so I'll give him a pass. This is the Bill Handle Show. Bill is recovering from heart valve replacement surgery. The morning crew is here, and it's time for Handle on the News late edition. Jennifer Jones-Lee and me. Lead story, the Calder fire continues to race towards South Lake Tahoe. This fire is within 3 miles, and embers are flying ahead up to a mile. So this is kind of literally any moment now, the city itself is going to be in flames. Right now, it looks like pretty much everybody's out. I'm not hearing any stories of people in South Lake Tahoe saying, no, I'm going to stay with a garden hose on my roof. I think they heeded the warnings almost to a person. So that part's good because so far, what's so amazing with the Dixie Fire and the Calder Fire, there have been no deaths reported.
I think there are some people missing, but no actual deaths.
Yeah. And if you heed evacuation warnings, that's the main purpose of the Some people think, well, you're evacuating me because my house, but I want to stay and try to defend my house. And I think those are people who don't get it. The evacuation is for your body.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people, at least I know in my parents' situation, when they could see the fire on the ridge behind their house, it has become so normal, such a normal part of life that you might get evacuated, that when my dad told me, he texted me, hey, we might get evacuated, so we packed some stuff, watching the Giants game, blah, blah. It was like, and then we ordered a pizza, and then it was just a part of life.
Well, it goes on for so long, you have to return to some kind of normal routines.
Yeah.
You can't spend every moment of every day for weeks at a time just sitting with your go bag on your lap.
Right.
Waiting for the knock on the door. But it is odd, right?
Oh, very.
Yeah. Oh, I just said right. I'm sorry. I just did that thing that everybody's doing these days.
Right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
My deepest apologies to the people who feel like an ice pick is being shoved into their ears.
The other one that I hate is, thank you. Ugh. All right, in Louisiana, you've got a lot of people scrambling for food and water, and you may have heard stories that some of the electricity was being turned back on. Yeah. It has been in some places, but these are to the critical infrastructure, so the hospitals, places like that, nursing homes. It's not the everyday Joe who's getting his house power turned back on. Now, the mayor, LaToya Cantrell, brought in an overnight curfew. She says this is an effort to limit crime from Ida.
And again, aligned with being proactive, ensuring that we have the capacity to enforce such a curfew.
And so the curfew started last night, but you've seen pictures of looting. But you think about it, there's no power. Nobody's alarm is on, even if they're home or not home. And so it's a great opportunity to be a criminal.
I guess, although I know one thing that does not require any electricity.
What's that?
A gun.
Yeah.
So
maybe bad time to be a criminal.
I wouldn't mind if we started hearing stories of looters going into the wrong house and ending up ventilated. It would not bother me at all. Well, the Supreme Court, by doing nothing, has allowed that Texas abortion ban to go into effect today. It's a ban on abortions after 6 weeks. There was an emergency appeal asking them to put a stop to it, and they didn't say no. They just haven't done anything yet. Which, is that a harbinger of how they're going to rule? Because if you're going to strike down the law, you'd think you'd do it as quickly as you possibly can. If you know you're going to let the law stand, there's really no rush to respond, is there? Oh, man. Okay. So there's a couple from Tarzana. They were convicted in June of a fraud conspiracy. They got $18 million in emergency relief money that they weren't supposed to get. They did this elaborate series of fictitious businesses and then applied for loans under the Paycheck Protection Program, whatever. They got all this money. They, according to the prosecutors, they bought a $3.25 million house.
Whoa.
With the money that they stole. And they were in that house on location monitoring, sometimes called home confinement, with the ankle bracelet monitoring their location. And you mean location monitoring is where you monitor their location? Yes. Well, they decided to cut those puppies off and bye-bye. They're gone. They're on the lam. They're on the loose. Which raises the question, what knucklehead judge let them be out on bond? Now, you are entitled to be released on bond unless you are a danger to the community and or a flight risk. And you would have a hard time making the case that these white-collar fraudster people are a danger to the community. Although if I were a prosecutor, I'd try to argue that, boy, do they have a long history of making up fake stuff and doing fraud. So would they really stop doing fraud if they're out and about? But danger to the community is one thing. Flight risk, excuse me. Number one, they got a lot of money, millions of dollars, much of which is unaccounted for. Number two, they have a history of making fake things. If you can create a fictitious business, maybe you also can get a fake ID, for example.
Yep,
or a
fake
new
passports.
identity, for example. So I would have not let them out. I would have held them in custody and let them go up the appeals chain and make a judge higher on the food chain tell me I'm wrong. But that's not what happened here, and they found out who the judge is.
And?
Oh, it's so rude to bring this up, isn't it?
No.
Oh, it's Judge Wilson, Piano Man. Remember? I was telling you about the judge that has
Just yesterday.
piano. Yeah, well,
Yes.
apparently it's Piano Man's case.
Oh.
I guess I can say things like that now and nobody can fire me.
No.
If I said something like that while I still worked over there, I would be summarily shown the door by a bunch of marshals probably, but
now I say let it fly,
what
Wayne.
are you gonna do? By the way, is calling somebody Piano Man because they have a piano in their office, is that even derogatory?
I don't think so.
Something
unless
to
he chooses
ponder.
not to be a man. Unless he chooses to be called they.
Oh, I'm
Or
not
them.
aware of his pronoun choice. All right. Anyway, they're gone. And now it's a question of how clever were they? If they were clever enough, they will never be seen again. I will also tell you, though, there are people who have been fugitives for decades. And eventually they get lax. And they do get caught again. So the true fugitive never ever seen again, the so-called D.B. Cooper situation, very rare. So I wouldn't be surprised if they are brought back at some point. But man, the guts of just like cut it off and go. The second you cut it off, it sends an alert. But you've got lead time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't have a probation officer standing on your porch 24/7. And even if they get an alert and the monitoring center calls the cops, it's not going to be a high priority anyway, because everybody knows by the time you show up at the house, they're not going to be there. people. Get a news update from Jennifer Jones-Lee. We'll continue Handle on the News late edition. It's KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. It's the Bill Handle Show. Bill out recovering from heart surgery. The morning crew is here for you, and we're finishing up Handle on the News late edition with Jennifer Jones-Lee and me.
Oh, my turn. Sorry. Yeah. LA is about to get its first robo-taxi test fleet. They've had this going around the Bay Area for a while, but there's this company, it's called Motional, and it says, hey, a lot of people think about LA, they think Hollywood. Well, it says we think engineers, and that's why it wants to put a division of its company down here. So it'll test its fleet, but it'll also be looking for engineers while it's here. And they say they're looking for skilled workers from several industries. And it's little robot car testing that has been conducted in Southern California. And I guess so if you see a driverless car, it's probably one of these test cars from Motional.
I guess it's a special thing, an SUV that Hyundai's making, and it's built specifically to be an all-electric vehicle. So they designed it, built it from the ground up, and they're going to put this self-driving software in it and all these sensors. Cars driving around like that up in Northern California, apparently it's pretty common now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot of it, but here, not so much. This would be like a major incursion onto our roadways of these things. I don't know. How do you feel about it? Are you worried?
It's very disconcerting to look over and see a car next to you with no driver.
I'm not clear whether there will be somebody in the car in the initial stages of
probably
testing
for the initial,
intervene.
yeah.
Even so, you don't know what it's going to do. I remember one time I went to pick up some food. This is, I don't know, a few months ago. And there was this little robot going down the sidewalk.
Oh.
Not big enough to have a person in it. It was about the size of like a shopping cart, just going down the sidewalk. And apparently going to deliver food.
I want to say that Rich DeMero said maybe it was a pizza delivery, that there was some little robot in LA. I think it was pizza delivery.
It's some company that has these robots that you can buy. I don't know if it was delivering pizza or it was delivering from the same place that I was picking up food from. But I just saw it just like tooling, and it wasn't like 1 block or 2 blocks away. Because I got in my car and I had to drive a certain distance on La Brea, it was at least 12, maybe 15 blocks that I tracked this thing going along the sidewalk as I was going on La Brea.
Did people look at it funny? I mean, were people like, whoa, as it went by them? Or was everybody just like, doo-doo-doo?
It was attracting a lot of bemused attention.
I bet.
So California passed a law in 2019, the Fair Pay to Play Act. It allows college athletes to make money from endorsements. We were the first state to pass such a law, but other states followed us, and their start date for the activation of the law was actually before ours. We passed a law in 2019 that wasn't going to take effect until January 1, 2023. I don't know why we need that much time. Well, in the meantime, the NCAA basically said we're going to lighten up and make it easier for athletes to make money from endorsements. And so Governor Newsom said, well, in that case, let's move up the activation date to today. So we got a couple people in the legislature to push a thing through. It was unopposed. There was nobody in Sacramento saying, no, let's continue to wait. And so I believe as of this moment, college athletes in California can make money off of their likenesses, etc.
All right. If you send an email to somebody at Nike Corporate and you get back one of those out-of-office replies, here's why. Nike has given its head office employees the week off to de-stress. So it says they want their employees to take time to unwind, de-stress, spend time with your loved ones, do not work. And the key to performing well and staying sane is taking this time off.
Or figuring out why it's so damn stressful to work at headquarters of Nike. I'm being unfair because they're looking at the pandemic as being such a stressful event contributing to the stress levels. But still, I guess I don't care, right? They can shut down their offices for a week.
Yeah. And
you know what's not shutting down for a week to allow the workers to de-stress?
Nike stores.
And the assembly lines making the shoes, they're not shutting down. And it's the people whose presence is not vital. Meaning the company can run for an entire week with nobody in the head office. They can't run for a week without people making the shoes for them.
And it's probably all people who are working from home in the first place. And it's probably not the people who were worried, I would assume, about whether their store would open or close or what. I mean,
right.
Just saying.
Good luck getting a seat at a Starbucks in Beaverton, Oregon this week.
Oh.
Because all the Nike employees are just out and about de-stressing. And all right, let's finish with this. Stop it with the stocking up on the toilet paper.
Oh, no.
We already went through this nonsense once, and now Procter & Gamble, the maker of Charmin and Bounty paper towels, because it probably applies to paper towels too, they're running their production lines 24/7 to meet demand. Normally, paper products are 95% or more in stock if you take stock of the whole country. As of August 29th, they're only 86% in stock. At the height of the toilet paper buying frenzy, 40% in stock.
Wow.
Boy, it seemed like they were zero. It was 0% in stock.
Well, you would go to a store and there would be nothing on the shelf. Or if there was, you were limited to 1 4-pack or something like that.
I was always able to get toilet paper with just a little diligence during the height of the craze. But I didn't like it. I didn't like not knowing, will I be able to get toilet paper? Please, let's not do it again. Also, you know what's dumb? Pleading to the anonymous public to please not do a stupid thing. You want to talk about a classic waste of breath.
Good luck with that, Wayne.
That was it. All right, let us get a news update from you, Jen. And then there's a database the feds have, and it's kind of secret. And now a lot of people are coming forward to say it's terrible, horrible, racist, nationalist, and should be stopped. It's KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
¿Por qué esta Coca-Cola de McDonald's sabe tan bien? ¿Será la máquina? ¿Será el popote o el hielo? O quizás soy yo.
No sé, Diego, pero vámonos, ¿no? El ¿por qué esto sabe tan bien deal? Un refresco de cualquier tamaño por $1, solo en el $1, $2, $3 menú de McDonald's. Precios y participación pueden variar, no se puede combinar con cualquier otra oferta o combo mío. Coca-Cola es una marca registrada de The Coca-Cola Company.